Call for your session to order. It's Wednesday, September 15th. The time is 7 p.m. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have asked Council President Morton to read our announcements.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I am on the city council and as an advocate of quality and effective city services. I will do what I can to promote cost-sensitive and professional services to city residents and visitors. I will do what I can to promote safe environment for business and families. That was one. Number two. It is my responsibility to contribute to a stabilized government for the city. I am an opponent of uproar, dissension, and conflict. I believe in cooperation. Number three, I believe in routine. The greatest gift I can give to city residents is to provide services that are predictable. Number four, every comment I make and every vote I cast will be motivated by the question, what is good for the city residents and visitors? Number five, what I want for my family is what I want for all patrons of the city. Number six, I will champion the city. I will compliment and reinforce often. I will suggest and recommend when necessary. Number seven, I will support a majority position of the council. I may not agree, but once the vote is taken, I am with the others. Number eight, I will never come to the council meeting having made a promise to an individual or group. Number nine, at all times, I will remember I am a city official whose purpose is to serve and represent others and act on their behalf. Number 10, courtesy is a rule. I will not break that rule. Number 11, the council meeting is business meeting. It's not entertainment. It's not a social hour. It's not a question and answer session. It is a business meeting. Number 12, I am busy. Other council members and the mayor are busy. The city staff and administrator are busy. Everyone is busy. At this meeting, I will do what I have to do. I will do it as fast as possible. I will respect the time of other people. Thank you.
President, yes. Okay, we'll now open it up for visitor comments. If you have a minute, please look at the name of the record and keep it to 5 minutes or less.
Brady Prehine. So hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or belief with one's behavior does not conform. I think your mantra is a perfect example of hypocrisy because most of you violate at least one clause of that almost every meeting. Another would be, an example would be Jessica saying she's been treated badly, then attacked both the mayor and Councilor Morton in the meetings and saying that, oh, she's been treated badly. Councilor Morton has been elected several times, as has been the mayor. Yet as a first-term councilor, you seem to think that you know better than both of them. Ironically, Doug Morton is probably one of the few people who actually has gone door to door, which you claim that you've done. Then you sat there and you made up complete lies about the tourism problem and acted like the rest of the council had a problem because, gee, everybody wasn't showing up and giving them problems. But yet, when I did a public records request for your lists of issues that you have, found out that no, you didn't actually have any issues. You just made it all up. You know, there's a saying that says if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Perhaps you should. I've interviewed a lot of people on my radio show over the last 7 years, and you are literally the only person who thinks that asking you what your name is was a trick question. This is me talking to you on level 1. I'm just getting started. If you think you can sit there and in public spout lies and that I am not going to bring it up and again, you're wrong. I don't understand why the rest of the council doesn't hold you accountable for that. At a minimum, you owe the city and the council an apology, and you owe Ms. Curry an apology for making up information that was simply not true. But I guess it's great to be aligned with Steve. I guess you're not just an employee of CCMH, you're also a client. Finally, I want to talk about the derelict boat guy. I find it unbelievable that Art pointed out that you sent him a check. No way do I believe that he was the only vendor that you could find to do the work that you said that you wanted to him. I wonder why he doesn't take you seriously about having to move his boat when you're sending him a check. Would be sort of like me finding a homeless person on my property and telling them to move it, then by the way, can you do some yard work for me and paying them? It doesn't make any sense to me. Find somebody else. Obviously, he's probably the cheapest guy to get it done because, hey, he doesn't have a boat mooring fee. He doesn't have to pay for sewage. He doesn't have to have a sewage pumped out. He can just crap in the river. So yeah, he's probably cheaper, pay more. Get somebody else. Don't be sending him a check. And if you can send him a check, which clearly you did, I think you can also send him a ticket. Thanks.
Any other comments? Okay, ordinance, first, final reading, or, yeah, it is final reading, ordinance number 3270, ordinance granting the Columbia River People's Utility District franchise to operate an electrical utility and distribution system within the city of St. Helens, Oregon.
I move we adopt ordinance number 3270 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve ordinance 3270. Question one,
Aye.
Counselor Topaz,
Aye.
Counselor Shelton,
Aye.
Counselor Berkeley,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, resolution 1934, resolution of the city of St. Helens, Oregon declaring city-owned property at South 12th Street, tax ID 28892 as surplus and authorizing sale of the property.
I move we adopt resolution number 1934 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion,
Motion or a comment,
yep.
uh,
They say the motion has been made
Okay.
and seconded. Go ahead.
as I read the ORS, the declaration that this piece of property is for sale is correct. The next part of the ORS is there has to be a public, hearing on that in 5 days. Has that been eliminated?
Sorry.
Okay, when the city declares a piece of property surplus, they declare it surplus and people can bid on it at that point. And after that declaration, it has to be, according to the OS, published in a newspaper or some public conveyance, then there has to be a public hearing about that property being for sale in 5 days
We did give notice of the sale of the property.
in the paper.
This was prepared, both of the resolutions are tonight are prepared by our legal counsel, and I can see if there's some procedural. I'm not sure if it applies to real property or if it's personal property or if it's.
It said property, I don't know the details beyond it, that just went to the
I can
ORS.
confirm with our counsel that we're in the process.
But as I say, because that was one of the things that was brought up way back when in the marijuana facility. That a couple of procedures, there's the publication that is for sale, there's a public hearing. Then if there's a public hearing and all that, then the sale, this is actually shining off on the person who's buying it as compared to just declaring that the property is for sale. There's two things happening in this document, right?
Yes.
And I don't remember the ORS allowing the two things happen at the same time. The hearing may not be required, but this is. That's the question. It's a technical question.
Yeah, it's a process issue. I can look into it. I don't know that there's cause for delay with the approval of these or not.
I did recall our legal counsel bringing this to our attention. So we had our legal counsel here, which we'd had those questions available when we had our legal counsel here last meeting.
As I say, I just picked this up and
So,
checked the ORS on it.
The
That's,
property has literally been for sale over, what, 3 months, that we've made it known to everybody that this, longer, but for all 3 months, and it's
but
been in a
the
realtor.
legal question was it put in the paper?
Oh, I get
Or
it,
was there a
I get
hearing within 5 days?
I get it, but it seems like it's always last minute. It seems like it's always last minute.
I think if we take that sentence apart, it says Oregon declaring, or St. Helens, Oregon, declaring city-owned property, that's a description. That isn't, we aren't making an announcement that we're declaring that. That's just a description at South 12th Street, tax ID, whatever, as surplus and authorizing sale of the property.
Yeah.
So we've already advertised it or declared it, I believe.
Yeah,
And now we're authorizing sale of the property. That's the way I understand it.
Where the ORS says you declare it and in the declaration you give its exact location, description, and a
That's,
value. And then after that, you need 5 days before a public hearing. And then whatever. And the question is,
we'll have legal counsel check it out, and we may be,
it's a bunch of technicalities, I'll agree.
I think we can go ahead and approve this, and if what Counselor Topaz says is true, our legal counsel will just have us, they'll post it,
Yeah.
and we're re-adopting this the next meeting. Because it was our attorney was here and actually.
I know.
Last week.
Procedure that has past practice when we've been selling property, and if there were any concerns, our counsel would have advised us already accordingly. But I agree, we can check with them again, but I have no qualms proceeding.
I'm just making sure we go through procedure correctly.
well, I want to see the procedure, and you did not supply the procedure, so it's hard for us to guess.
It's an ORS, it's under
Give me
public
the OR,
property
give me the
sale.
ORS.
I think that it was appropriate for you to bring that up right now because this is the time and place to bring that up,
Sure.
but I do also trust our city administrator has done his job and checked with our legal counsel. So I say we just continue to move along and we follow up if there's a reason to follow up with it.
Good idea.
So thank you, doesn't technically require a resolution to approve it, but upon legal advice, they said it's a good policy to do that, so then you have a permanent record of the decisions that are made.
With
That will-
a legal document, yes.
You'll notice with agreements is another thing that authorizes agreements. I have a policy run all of the agreements to council, so that there's a trail of permanent record.
Right.
Yeah, we can check it out.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve, resolution 1934. Council President Moore.
Aye.
Councilor Topaz.
Nay.
Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Okay, resolution number 1935. And I would just, before I read this, I would just like to state that I would really appreciate if you've researched this stuff to make a printout of it and bring it exactly so we can read it firsthand. Because you constantly do this and we don't know, sometimes it's just unfounded to be even true what is being said here. And we did have our legal counsel, and if you're questioning it, and obviously you have somebody that obviously maybe helps assist you, why don't you print it? Because you always wait till last minute on this stuff and you never bring it up off the top of your head. So that's why I assume that if you have this information at your fingertips, please bring it to us. Please be a steward of the citizens and bring that information like we said. When we signed up to do this job, we signed up to do this for all citizens and to protect the city. Please bring that to me, and the rest of the council.
We had this
Serve
discussion
our
with
citizens better.
Peterson, bringing up, procedures on the marijuana sale some time ago, and we got caught on that. And it's in the same bucket as that group of procedures. That's what, that's been brought here before.
We had it all appraised, we did everything necessary, all the steps that I recall doing that. And I will say this on the marijuana property, before I read this next resolution, is that it being within our urban renewal and through our urban renewal agency, that we do not have to have it appraised, and we can deem to sell property for whatever price we see fit.
According to the ORS, again, the appraisal is the lowest price we can sell it for.
Our attorney, Ed, at the time, said, when Agnes said, "Do you got me?" He said, "Yes, I do." And she dropped it, okay? So I will tell you that much right now. She knew and he knew, and we never seen any more on this whole subject other than you continuing to bring this subject up. Since then, we have not had any legal person come in here other than you representing legal advice and continuing to go out to the mill property. And now you're referencing this, so please bring that information firsthand to us. If you are referencing an ordinance, it's not that hard to print it out. You're able to print out a lot of different things for us when you want to. Sometimes they're a book, because we've all received them.
Yeah, and I say, I read this afternoon, and that's what caught me. And,
Even one copy, so we all
I
read
don't
through it.
know if it,
A resolution 1935, a resolution of the City Council of St. Helens, Oregon, declaring city-owned property at South 10th Street, tax ID 28878, Lot 5, Block 83, as surplus and authorizing sale of property.
I move we adopt resolution number 1935.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution 1935. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
hey,
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Approve and authorize for signature, master grant agreement with ODOT to receive federal funds through the Federal Exchange Program. 5, contract amendment to OTAC to extend scope of work, South First Street, Strand Street Utility and Street Extension. And 6, contract payment.
I move we approve or authorize for signature items, agenda items 4, 5, and 6 as read.
second,
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve and authorize for signature 4, 5, and 6. Council President Morton.
Aye.
Council Topaz.
aye,
Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Consent agenda for approval, 7 council minutes dated September 1st, 2021, and 8 accounts payable bill list.
For me, I move that we approve consent agenda 7 and 8 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda 7 and 8.
comment.
Yes,
At the end of the minutes, it says there's a heated discussion and no further information in that, and there's a couple of statements made in that heated discussion that should be clarified. You made a statement about who Councilor Topaz would have to have sign off on before he could put something on the agenda. If I remember correctly, it's not in the minutes, you said I need 2 councilors and you to put something on the agenda, correct?
no. No, I did not say that. I said you can either have me, period, and ask me to put it on the agenda, and you can call me anytime, and you never have. I thought it's always on. I just received a text from Bill Landis saying, salmon, 0 calories, lawn needs mowed. Grass is tall, always on. You can come to me anytime, which you never have, and I have never ever refused because you've never came to me. Or you can approach 2 counselors and say, I have an idea and I'd like to put something on the agenda.
Okay, so I need 2 councilors, correct?
That's correct.
Does anybody else need 2 councilors?
Everybody, if
I
I,
had to do that to get something on the.
I know, I'm wanting you, what's written down. According to the charter, anybody and a counselor can put something on the agenda.
The operative word is a council should be able to put something on the agenda.
So what you're saying is the difference is 3 counselors versus 2. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
My understanding is that it's 2 counselors. That if Counselor Chilton desires something to be on the agenda, then if she were to ask me or Mr. Council Moore or Councilor Topaz to approach you to request it, it's just 2 counselors can get it on the agenda, not 3 total. It's the proposer and the another council.
Way I was referenced to me from Mayor Peterson was, no, it was 2 other counselors. And I would have to maybe refer to Kaiser too as well, the way they do their agenda in the same way. You have to get the approval of 2 other counselors. It's an idea. It's perfectly legal to do this. We can talk about anything we want to talk about as long as we are making no decisions. We've talked about this. How does legislation get stuff done? How do they even know? Can you read my mind? No, we support this idea. I want to do this house bill. That's how we get it done.
Okay. So
So
it
don't
seems-
get caught.
yeah, so no, so it just seems to me that whether or not
There is something here, though. There's it's not in the charter, right? The charter just
Yeah.
says you shall have rules to govern your meetings.
Yeah.
So then we have the governing policy, we have council rules. And we also have the training handbook that you've all sat through. and talked about. And when I go to the stated governing policy, it does say any, Councilor Topaz is correct, it does say just a counselor. And I know we've all sat with Rachel's after these trainings and been taught that, and it was kind of a surprise to me to see it there. So it's,
Okay, so what if I decide I want to wipe it off? Then, because I have that power.
According to our charter, you do not have veto power.
I do set.
That's not in the charter.
not in the
that's what you're
charter.
saying.
I do set the agenda. So you're giving me veto power now. That's great. I'd like even more power.
Relax.
No,
So,
no.
That's
But,
not
but,
what you
but
want to
what
say.
but where we're going with this, and again, it's a resolution because it was brought to my attention if it didn't get put on, or else you threatened staff again. You came in here, you threatened Lisa, you said, oh, I can go to Kathy and I can go to John. I don't care if you're going to Kathy or John, you don't talk to staff that way,
2
period.
people is a
Period.
mistake.
That's exactly
1
what
person
happened.
is necessary.
And I
2
wanna-
people is a
I wanna
mistake.
state- I wanna
Let's get it
state the
on
resolution.
paper correctly.
And I want to state what he was referring to is if we did not bring up the resolution of the marijuana.
No, that's not what was brought up.
Resolution was.
No, that's what happened. The resolution was John had the right to negotiate and sign the bill of sale.
Yeah, I've got something.
so
I've got something.
What was Council Berkeley?
Yeah, I've got an idea to please let our attorney address this issue in our next meeting. Let him be here and address this issue so we have it solved once and for all. We've been arguing for this for the last 3 or 4 meetings, and we're still broken.
So
I'd like
Kathy,
to get it
that is what I said. So you can write that down to fill in the gaps of his minutes or whatever. Okay, you can readjust the minutes as. Are you gonna be okay if we
If
amend the
everything's
minutes?
printed out that we said, I'll be very happy
The
with it.
heated discussion
I'll be very happy. But it's,
happens quite frequently.
well, that's
Usually-
why I bring these things up.
And usually it's one of us and you. Not
Well, that's
always
fine.
just me.
Doesn't bother me.
So, all right, so we have a motion that's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda for approval with amendments to the minutes at the end that state that I approve to put stuff on the agenda or two other councilors' approvals. Exactly what I said. So with that being said, Council President Morton.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm an aye as well. Okay, do we have anything from work session action items? You know, it always seems like we get going just good and dandy and we're like firing all cylinders and it seemed like we got it along really well earlier. And then just out of the blue, really there's nothing there, nothing even there because you've never even asked to have anything put, for me personally, you've threatened staff. I'm just baffled by your, and it's my meeting, so I'm gonna rant because I serve the citizens. That you disrupt this council, it was going so well, and you just disrupt for what, Councilor Topaz? What is the point? What is the point that you're trying to make? I wanna know. Answer me that.
Okay, I'm gonna say the same word too. I'm serving the citizens, or at least the citizens who confer with me of what they want to hear. So I'm doing exactly what you're doing, and now you're yelling at me. I don't yell at you for conferring.
Productive manner and just
They
serve-
think it's productive. That's a comment or a,
You can't answer it.
no, as I
You
said,
cannot answer it.
you don't agree with what I just said. That's why you can't accept. I
No,
just
I'm
presented what some
merely stating
experience
an
was.
observation of a fact that I've been running this meeting with you for 2 years and you continue to do this when Ginny and Councilor Locke were here. And you continue to do this with even Councilor Berkeley and Councilor Chilton here.
I'm not here for a friendship meeting. I'm here to try to
So,
something
so I
straight.
just want to state that it's not just the council because we got 2 new council members. It's just you.
Well, as I talked about procedure, it had nothing to do with anybody. I'm talking
It's
about
always been
procedure.
this. It's been going on for 2 years. You can watch it. Any citizen out there watching, refer to 4 years ago, back when he was elected, and start watching. I'm not making this shit up. Okay, any other work session action items earlier?
There was one item for McKenzie Architecture for you to give direction
That's
to
right.
John and I to come back, to work with McKenzie and come back to you with a scope for moving forward on the public safety facility.
Can we make a motion on that?
Doesn't have to be a
No, I
motion
think
or
it's,
anything,
I don't
but
think,
just general direction from
Thumbs
the
up.
authority.
yeah, thumbs up. Yes?
Consensus will do.
Yeah, okay. Okay, what do I have to report? Well, we did have a good presentation from McKenzie, which brought up a whole number of issues as far as corridors and stuff. And I would like to do a recap because we have we have the riverfront corridor. We also have what is called the Main Street Gateway. I'd like to get all those together. I would like to do a little bit of, just a recap of some type of retreat, because even the gateway, I was not involved in, just so the other 2 councilors know. And just to kind of get a recap on these, so we can see how they do actually align, and have just a recap on where we're going in the future. When these issues come up, that we can address them. And so I would just like to do a recap at some point in time of a retreat, maybe we got a League of Oregon Cities canceled in October, maybe we shoot for sometime in October to go have a dinner and have Jenny or Jacob help assist John, and we'll go over this stuff.
Should some of the planning committee be there, because they presented to them first.
Well, and that's why I'm asking for Jenny or Jacob, because they're familiar with it.
Their adopted plans.
Yes, so we got them, but they just could help out with the questions and yes. Maybe Jenny. You can probably keep us there all night. You want to feed him too much food. No, I'm just joking. I don't care, it doesn't matter. That was just a joke, Jacob. So that's kind of on my mind. Halloween Town kicking off, great. Looking forward to the rain coming after this weekend. God, everything's so dry. That fire just out of town here up Alder Creek was a little scary seeing that smoke.
Yes.
Yeah, so 50-acre fire. Thank God that ODFW was on it and got it taken care of with the assistance of multiple agencies. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to some rain. And But I just think a recap of the corridors would be great. And then also, eventually, we talked about maybe the start of next year, the waterfront and the ROI. I don't think you can talk any too soon on return on investment of how this is gonna start serving the community and what, to make sure they have an understanding of why we're dumping this amount of money and the return on that. And so I think that needs to happen sooner than later. And I'm just modeling that off of what Independence did. You know, this is, and it worked very well for their whole community, so I just think it's time to start, me personally. So that's all I have. Council President Morton.
Well, I'd like to backtrack on this afternoon's meeting just a bit, and Rich Mason called in regarding the dockage of whatever. And I'd really like to ask the police department as well as our administration of where we're at exactly on the kiosk and on the issue over Sand Island. Get a report either at our next council meeting.
I said I was putting it on in our meeting earlier.
Okay, during work session, so that we are, so that we're there. Okay, just for citizens to know that, and for anyone interested in listening to the updates on what's going on. Just want to make certain
Yeah,
what happens next.
Someone and I had talked about that.
That's great. Okay. Another thing you talked about that I'm very concerned about, and I reported on at last council meeting, is fire safety. Ironically, between then and now, we've had 3 fires, and one was very apparently from the fire department standards, very scary, and that's the one behind in Columbia Boulevard on, I believe, 20th or 21st in there somewhere, behind the restaurant. It was close to getting out of hand.
Jamin responded to that. He was there firsthand. I went and seen him.
Yeah, I mean, if you know those things.
Citizens' doors.
Yeah,
You
those-
did,
Thank you, Officer.
you
Floyd.
did. Yes, he did. I just wanted to give a shout because it jogged my mind. That was him and Hal.
Okay, well, those things are, and thank you, and those things are very scary to our small town. But most cities and most municipalities have their police and their fire together in the city. And we're separated. And so my request is for us to look into seeing if we can get at least our fire department in here for a report, a semi-annual report or whatever, and or some newsletters so we know what's going on with the fire board and the fire department, other than one of us have to be a liaison to the Columbia River Fire. And I just think it's important so that we're all on the same page of what we're doing here in terms of safety. It's really scary to me sometimes with fire, especially with the wind that blows 15 to 20 knots. I don't think there's anyone in this room that can run that fast, unless it's the mayor. You got wings.
I think Jamie could outrun me.
Well, that wind is pretty awesome, and I see a lot of areas. We have a lot of areas in our city that a wildfire can take off, and when it's windy, there's no stopping it. And I just think that that's a concern. Thank heavens we're going to have some rain this weekend, and that's going to be very welcoming, especially from my point of view with that. So pretty much the thing about the dockage is just an update and some fire safety issues, and hopefully that we can maybe I can ask staff to reach out to our fire district and somehow combine efforts of understanding what's going on in their departments and what's going on in ours, whether it be reports, whether it be newsletters, whether it be anything. I'd really like to hear more from our fire district, one as a citizen and two as a council member. That's it for me.
I have two things. Following up on some of what Doug said, back to the boats. We have, and it's been brought up about boats being docked along the mill property. John, could you tell us what's happening with the ground or the toxic bottom of that area? Boise and the DEQ were doing something, and what has transpired?
Yeah, that's the area that they're. Now, it's just the area, of the wharfage where the ship loading was done and the barge transfer. That's a hot spot right there.
Mhm.
And then information is, there's some work done throughout the channel. It's kind of dated now, but papers off quite a bit, pretty quick.
Yeah, the old maps show big spots and little spots and everything along the way. I just wondered what had transpired, because at one time they were thinking of covering it over as compared to removing it. Has any motion been made on that?
No, we've been working with the governor's office and DEQ, and they've been pretty good, and we haven't seen the remedy yet, but
Okay,
so that
so,
we're highly interested in it, so.
because we could lose the use of it. Okay.
So the question is, with a lot of citizens listening in, who's going to pay for the cleanup if there's a cleanup issue with that? Is that Boise Cascade's responsibility? Because they were, in a sense, the property owner at one time. The sale went through and they're still responsible for any kind of cleanup. Is that still part of our deal?
So the submerged lands are lands of the state, and those obligations are, the city was very strategic in our purchase of what we acquired with environmental lens, and that cleanup is entirely on Boise, or its parent company is.
And upland, anything upland too.
Anything up to.
So I asked those questions when I first came in,
Right.
but I wasn't part of the agreement, but I asked.
Thank you for clarifying that, especially for our citizens, that we didn't get hoodwinked into buying something and it's on the burden of the taxpayers in our city. Hopefully we go forward and keep that consistent all the way through. Thanks.
Councilor Cabezie, one more thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up with more. In downtown Portland, the underwater is EPA and the Army Corps. Above high tide is DEQ. Definition here, this is all DEQ, because it's underwater.
They're responsible for the oversight that is.
But I'm talking about the portion that's underwater. At least in the Portland Harbor, is very well delineated. Underwater is EPA, and above high water mark is DEQ. Even though it may be the same toxic field.
That may be related to a Superfund designation.
That's why I asked the question.
In EQ is our state regulatory agency for that.
Okay, so they're taking, because it's state lands there, where Portland, who knows who owns what.
Fishing the birds.
Yeah. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'm gonna pass out here something on restarting the RFP for tourism. What I'm passing out here is a outline of things that should be in the RFP. One of the things that Patrick said, which is quite wrong, you don't hire somebody and then after they're hired, give them a job description. You will get sued because people who didn't get hired can say, well, if you had only told me that, I could do that. Now, if the person's working for us because they're a city employee, then it's acceptable. But if you have a vendor doing it, it's not acceptable. You need a full job description to come in. So I'm making a motion that we do an RFP on tourism, having basically what I want the staff to do is add to this outline. Because, I want, as we do when we build sidewalks, very measurable points of what has to be done, which we don't have now.
I would support this as your report, but not as a mandatory thing, statement for the staff to do. I'd like to go over all of this, think about it, and I would like to talk about these issues. And we had thought about talking about this and working this up on one of our in one of our meetings. That was discussed last night. So I hope this doesn't supersede what the council was going to do. This is what Steve Topaz wants
Well,
to
the
do.
council had an RFP to put out for tourism. Then the council came back and got rid of that. I'm trying to reestablish an RFP. And at this point, I'd like to have a definitive description of the RFP. That's what this is. This isn't the exact thing. This is an outline of the description. It should be in the RFP. That's what I'm making a motion.
Okay, it's my understanding that the council was going to meet to discuss what should be in the RFP. You're saying, you're superseding this with the council making a decision and having a discussion about that, saying this is it.
No, this is it says outline. This is an outline. This is not the definitive thing. This is some of the stuff that should be in the discussion.
So
Okay, so you submit that to our staff. I don't see any problem, but
I'm not sure if you want to have this as part of the discussion, why that we would require a motion of the entire
no,
council, that this is something that
No, it's a motion, so something has to happen, because other we can discuss and not do anything.
So
This is,
Counselor Topaz has made a motion and I'm waiting to hear a second, and if I don't, the motion will die.
I'll second it.
Been made and seconded to make this an outline for an RFP for tourism.
no, this is way short-sighted for me. Okay, this is time for discussion and comment, so I'm questioning this. So this is very short-sighted for involving myself, involving the mayor, involving Jessica,
Do
and
we have a plan currently to sit down and talk about this?
no, we don't have a plan, but we were going to meet and formulate one.
Right, so.
Okay, so
let's
this,
set a meeting up
does
for
this
that.
supersede
No,
that
no,
meeting?
no, I just say that I think that Counselor Topaz would be happy if we at least set a meeting.
that is correct.
If what?
If we at least set a meeting to say we're gonna sit down and we're gonna discuss.
I didn't hear him say
Changes to
that.
the
He
contract.
just wanted to,
He
us
just
to.
said, I just said, Counselor Topaz would be happy if we did that at least.
Okay.
We'll
Whatever.
just set a meeting
A
to
meeting.
discuss it,
Yeah,
because he's afraid that's not gonna happen if we don't set a meeting. That's what he's saying.
okay,
So let's set a
Okay,
meeting.
that's correct.
okay. And then what is this?
That's just
What is
bare
this?
bones. That's
This is
some of
what
the
I-
things that should be in
This
it.
is what I
You can
thought.
bring with you to the meeting if you'd
Right.
like, when we have the discussion.
Oh, okay. But
I
he,
just thought-
his original, he didn't say that originally.
No, I
He
know.
said, handed me this, okay, and I look at it and I go, well, this is something for the council to decide. That was my reaction. This is Steve Topaz's. And so what I'm looking forward to is the council deciding these things. I don't accept this at this point. He can do whatever he wants to do with it, but if we have a meeting, then he can bring this to the meeting as Steve Topaz.
Right.
And
when
we can
he's-
bring ourselves
Yeah,
and our ideas
exactly.
as well. So why were we voting on this?
He's saying that he will drop the voting if we set a date to meet and discuss it.
Okay,
That's where we're at.
okay.
Jump ahead, get to it.
No, I don't. I didn't say that.
I'm just kind of like,
Yeah,
Okay.
this is an outline for discussion. You need a meeting for discussion. This is not what's got
this
to
is
be.
Steve
So what
Topaz's
is-
outline.
what is your motion though? I'm trying to.
The
figure-
motion is to
That's
have an
Jessica's
RFP
telling me
with
something.
some structure, and this being a symbol of that structure, not the exact structure. There
So,
are things here, it says you have to have insurance.
I'm trying to help.
It says you've got to have an accounting of expenses. It has, want more activities than the small present. These are things that we would like to put in to whoever is going to be the tourism director to have under their control and do and report back to the council.
Which staff is directed to do, and we're.
No, I said council, oh,
Okay,
that's
okay.
different.
Okay, but that was where we left it. And we were going to,
Well, that's why I changed it to council. That's what I'm trying to do, is make it more public.
what I could say for me personally is that this is just really turning into quite a thing, and I mean, tourism is vitally important to our community. We're starting Halloween Town. And whatever, we all agreed on that. We all agreed that we're gonna do an RFP. We all agreed on that. That's what. we're gonna do.
No, we got rid of the RFP the last time. When Jessica wasn't here, you voted against the RFP.
No, I was
She was
here,
there.
but we did reverse it.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
we did.
Till a further date, right?
No,
No.
you reversed it.
Oh, man.
So
This is a mess.
my understanding is, okay, Counselor Chilton at a previous meeting, proposed the RFP. By a vote of 3-2, we approved the RFP. Then last month, Counselor Morton came with concerns that we had directed staff for the RFP. And thought that instead of that, we should rescind the act we had taken to request for the RFP by a vote of 3-2. That was rescinded with the understanding that, so that we no longer, we do not have the RFP on the table at this time. My one reason why so originally so the 3-2 vote both times, my vote, Counselor Chilton's motion was for an RFP. And subsequently, I changed my vote. I did vote to rescind. I was taken aback by that the request for that motion to rescind that was at that time taken. I had not anticipated that at that time. I chose to vote to rescind it because as I have looked back at the history of things, our original direction, not done by any formal vote at the April public hearing, was to direct staff to look at the contract. Because I believe if we look at the minutes to the hearing, John did present us several options. Do we do RFP? Do we do contract or whatever? The direction I recall in my review of those minutes from April, where we directed staff to look at the contract. And then for a number of whatever reasons that did not get looked at for a while. When Counselor Chilton, I still had concerns about contract, etc. Anyway, so that's why I voted the last time to rescind and to go back to a. So my understanding then, this time, I would believe we still need to look at that. Yes, we can look at an RFP if we do that at a future meeting, but I do not believe it is appropriate to have a resolution or motion that dictates that this be the content of the the meeting. I definitely still want to have a long discussion. Huh?
Good luck with that part.
But I know, well, I understand, Counselor, given that I would still like to have a discussion where we can look at things. So I would not support right now the current motion, but I do hope then that we do move forward for a definite setting of a date and time to have a discussion of this and other issues, because I also believe that Councillor Toth has a number of these issues are already addressed in the thing in terms of meeting insurance requirements and
And the only-
things. So anyway, so I would not vote for the current motion.
Yeah.
But I do support ongoing discussion.
Okay, so, wait, my turn. I just, you brought up the motion, so, we'll give you a little bit of discussion on it, but we are also discussing among us as a council, so please allow us to decipher for ourselves what's going on here. For the way I feel, if I were in another person's shoes, that's how I look at this job. Okay, I have to consider the other people out there. And not just citizens, but also sometimes the people we hire. And I gotta say, man, I just keep getting put on this agenda and keep talked about at the city council more than any position ever in the entire 4.5 years I've been on here. It's always been Tina. It's always been Tina. And what are we saying now? I feel like we are saying that you are not good enough for us, that's just my feeling.
So considerate of you.
That is just my feeling on it. It is, as much as this keeps coming back 3 times in less than 6 months. April, May, June, July, August, September.
And we've yet to have a
October.
discussion about it.
So 3
Since
times,
April.
no, we have had lots of discussion
No,
about
we
this.
had April and that was it.
But we have every opportunity to talk to her since then too. And again, this is my discussion, this is my time, please quit interrupting me. Okay? I feel as though we are sending a message to somebody telling them they're inadequate and we are not happy. That is just me. That's the way I feel about it. I feel either rip the Band-Aid off and either do it or don't do it.
One of the complaints that I have that would definitely say Tina's not doing her job is other parts of this town have not had the interest and the intensity of Halloween Town, for instance, or any other tourism things for other parts of the year. And that way, some of the people of this town feel tourism is inadequate. Whether that's good or bad, that's some of the people we're representing saying they don't get any benefits from tourism. 2, Tina is a contract person. Any contract person should have hallmarks that they can be judged against. And the present contract does not have a whole lot of hallmarks and audits built in that make that so we can double check whether the job is being done. We do, if you're building a sidewalk, we've got all kinds of double checks. The insurance on the sidewalk is what, 20 pages? This just says we're gonna have, so there's a number of things that we should clean up in the way the contract is written. That's what I'm saying.
Number 8 on our mantra, council. That's all I got to reference, and I'm going to read it. I will never come to a council meeting having made a promise to an individual or a group. Okay, that's all I got to say.
I didn't make a promise.
I'm just saying, it kind of came out of your mouth that some people don't benefit from this in any way, shape, or form.
That's correct. And we
Well, that's a
should,
group. That's a group.
no, it isn't. That's our citizens. They're not a group, they're citizens.
And I've also heard it referenced in here, my people before. That's a group. It's not all citizens, that's my people.
Now, it's your definition. Sorry, but I think it's inadequate. But my My
Alright,
point in this
so-
is that we need a
alright,
much
alright,
better
I'm gonna-
contract
We're gonna
system.
get into discussion on this, and we're gonna take a vote. Council President Morton,
Nay.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Chilton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley, and I'm a nay as well. Okay. Anything else to report?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, Councilor Chilton.
Fun, so much fun. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the continued work for the police station. So I
Good
met
stuff.
with the police chief and some city staff before I went on my vacation, and we looked at the proposals. And we came to the conclusion that McKinsey just really had a good grasp. They're the ones who did the initial look at building the police station, and they just really had a good grasp on the situation with the floodplain and everything else going on there. So I was happy that you guys also seen those same things with McKenzie, and I
Yeah, I
think
was really impressed with their work too, what they had already done too.
126 police stations, they built, so they really stood out there, so. Very excited about them moving forward with that and us getting to see some more details and see that moving a little bit faster there. Fall sports and school are underway as we see those things coming around town. We see school buses and kids out there, so that's been fun and keeping me really busy. I am looking forward to the joint meeting with the planning commission next week. I haven't really seen anything with the planning commission since I've been on council, so I'm really intrigued to learn about them and see how we work together. So I'm excited about that. And I just wanted to take the time to say that I'm extremely proud of the work we're seeing out of Public Works. Some really, really great leadership from Mohammed and Shauna, and they both just really blew me out of the water today with their presentation. So for anyone who's listening that didn't get a chance to see that, I really suggest that you go and look at that and see what Public Works has been up to and the great organization and planning that they have. Looking forward to seeing what they do next. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Council Berkeley.
I attended the Hometown Heroes event on the 11th at the courthouse, reading of the names of those who died on 9/11. Officer or Sergeant Eustace came and represented the department, was there for a portion of time and participated in the reading of the names. That was a very profound experience, and was glad that I'm sure Sergeant Eustace was probably on duty, but was able to take some time from responding to calls or whatever to participate in that, and just to remember a good reminder of what our public safety officers, including the sheriffs, the state National Guard, or firefighters, the commitment they make to help maintain our public safety. So that was a very moving thing. 100th anniversary of the Train Depot celebration on the 18th is coming up. So that should be interesting. I did do some research since our last meeting regarding youth councils. Had a conversation with Shauna at the end of the Parks and Trails Commission meeting, just about what youth council looks like. I have some information that I will be sharing with council members and staff. Some things from the League of Oregon Cities, some examples from the city of Cornelius, Hillsborough, just about different models to to go. And I think that as we look at the composition of the youth council in the municipal code, that my hope is still be that we have youth council as part of that, but that the nature of that would change in terms of what we now have in the code and what could be some things. So anyway, I'll be sharing information, my research with council members, with staff, just about some of those things. I had the honor of sitting in for Councilor Morton at the Parks and Trails Commission meeting on Monday. Well, Councilor Morton, it was a fascinating connection to history. Well, can you tell why you were not at the were able to attend the?
Yes, I was eulogizing the daughter of our past mayor, Heidi Human. And she lives in Corvallis, lived in Corvallis since she graduated from high school here. And she was 93 years old. And at the time, just prior to this meeting, I was going through all the items that she gave me to look through, see if there's any interest in the city of obtaining any of the properties of money. But all the stuff that was saved during his citizenship here in St. Helens was just profound. So I've got huge boxes, a lot of history. So they're going to go right up to Les Waters and give a lot of those kinds of items to him. However, I retained ownership of the left-handed bamboo putter that he had. I can't give that to anyone but myself because I golfed a lot with Heine, and it was somewhat emotional, but what a pleasure it was to eulogize her, his daughter, who was a supporter of Oregon State of education, the profound hallmark in the community of Corvallis. And so that's where I was. And then there was family issues that we got together on Monday, Tuesday. Very memorable and emotional time for me.
No,
Thank you for asking.
Well, sure. Thank you. I think it's important for us to remember all the folks who have contributed to the history of St. Helens and remembering people like that. 100 years from now, who's going to be remembering our names? But the kind of legacy that's left behind will be visible. And so at the parks, there wasn't anything major, significant talked about at that meeting. We did have a nice presentation from the Lions Club, who helps maintain the park course over at McCormick Park, and it's always a great reminder of how so much of our work is made possible by volunteers. There was continuing ongoing talk about additions to the Parks Master Plan, and Mohammed referred to that as part of the overall public works scheme of things. But just some, I think, a very dedicated Parks and Trails Commission going on, and continue to be impressed by Shauna and her work and commitment to embracing not just recreation but parks. And also related to this, Thad Hauk, our 23-year employee who's been responsible for maintenance of park fields, retired. And there will be a retirement celebration for him. I believe it's next week. Tomorrow. Oh, Hey, thank you. I gotta look at my calendar a little bit better. Okay, all right. I knew there was a reason that I didn't accept a substitute job tomorrow. Okay, I was just looking at the wrong day. So anyway, so that is happening. Today and just today is September 15th, marks the beginning of National Hispanic Heritage Month, which is traces its roots back to the Lyndon Johnson administration, and then was more formalized under the administration of Ronald Reagan. So from in here in St. Helens, the census data I have is that we have 7.2% of our residents claim Hispanic origin. And I think it's important to acknowledge that when we talk about Hispanic heritage and origin, we're talking about more than Spain, more than Mexico, that there are 21 countries throughout the country, or throughout the world, where Spanish is the official or dominant language. Why was this month chosen? Well, today is Independence Day for Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua. Tomorrow is Mexican Independence Day. It's not Cinco de Mayo, so a lot of people might think it's and Chile on November or on the 18th. And the reason I bring up these different countries is that, again, I think we have in our community increasing a number of his residents of Hispanic heritage who are business operators, business owners, who have been hired by the construction companies. I think at the departments of the highway, a good significant portion of the construction crew, or there may not be residents, but they commute from the metro area to work, and just wanting to really recognize the contribution we have on our own city staff. A number of staff people at our police department, public works, of Hispanic heritage, some of whom are bilingual. And I just wanted to make sure that, just wanted to acknowledge that in a small way, that even though Oregon is predominantly white, we still have great contribution by residents of different cultural and ethnic backgrounds. And I just wanted to bring a little bit of awareness to this month, why we call this Hispanic Heritage Month, and the contributions made by Hispanics, residents, workers, business owners, and on our city staff. So.
Patrick,
Go back.
one of the comments you're talking about with parks and the rec department, one of the things, we have a lot of trees, both in the parks and in the city. Is any discussion on taking care of the deer herd, especially when it's dry weather? So it's only grass and ground that the parks worries about as compared to the livestock.
No, there wasn't, but I don't know if that's something you put in the master plan about animal control, but no, there was no discussion about that.
We'll send them all
We've got
your
dogs
way.
in the park. I mean, that's one of the things. I was just wondering. We've got state regulations and everything.
Are you gonna tag them and license them, or
No,
what?
shoot them and eat them.
Okay, all right.
I need to correct myself.
Okay,
Dad's party is the 23rd at 3.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
third,
Woo.
at
So
3.
you can go substitute.
Okay, so I can't accept the substitute job.
Yes.